As a card collector, it's extremely easy to lose track of which cards you own and which cards you still need to collect. This is the same for sports cards, Pokemon, Disney, and any other type of cards that you might want to collect. And there's loads of ways to track your cards in the different hobbies, but I personally like having them all in one place. So today I'm going to be showing you guys a method on how to create your own checklists. I'm going to be using Google Sheets to do this, which is easy enough to access if you have a Google account. And if you don't have an account, it's easy enough to make one, and hopefully you can all follow along. So let's do it. So first thing first, make a brand new spreadsheet on Google Sheets and give a suitable name at the top depending on what you want to call it. If you're doing Pokemon cards, you could call it Pokemon Card Collection. Now also make sure down the very bottom where you've got sheet 1, you change this as well. So this could be your different set names, or even if you're just doing all your cards, the actual type of cards you're collecting. So I'm just going to put F1 cards because that's what I'm going to be tracking in this example. Next, I'm going to set the cells from B3 to G3, and we're going to merge and center those cells with this button here, and that's going to be really the heading for our set. So I'm going to type in F1 Chrome 2024, and I'm also going to put it in bold and make it a little bit bigger as well. Next, we're going to merge and center all the cells below that, and we'll come back to that in a little bit. And then we need to start doing our headings. So the first one we're going to do is collected. So if you have collected the card or not. And to track this, we're going to go in the cell below and we're going to go ahead and hit insert, and we're going to put in a checkbox. So as you can see, we can tick this on and off whether it's true or false. The next heading is going to be card number. So the number that appears in the set. Usually this is like 1 to however many you've got in the set. We're also going to put a name in and a description of the cards, the type of card that it is, and the condition as well. And these are really the main couple that I think you should track, the main 6. And we're going to center them and make them bold as well. Now we're ready to put in our data to our spreadsheet, and the best thing to do is go online and find the checklist if it already exists, because you can copy and paste values from there. So most of the top sets that come out will have the tops checklist, and you can copy and paste the card numbers, the names, the descriptions, and things like that. But for this example, I'm just going to be typing in the numbers manually. And if you type in the first 2 numbers, you can then select those cells and click and drag them to duplicate the rest of the numbers depending on how many you need in your set. Now we're going to put in the name of the card, but in this case it's going to be the name of the actual driver on the card. So for example, Max Verstappen in the F1 world, and we've also got Sergio Perez and a couple of other drivers. And then we're going to do the description, which is more where we explain what type of card it kind of is. So for example, these first 5 cards in the set, these are all F1 driver portraits because they all contain images of the driver in portrait format. So you could also put in things like car image, or if you're doing Pokemon, there could be certain variations and things like that. Now I think it's quite important to have a clean looking checklist. The better it looks, the more likely you are to actually use it in practicality. So I'm just formatting some of the columns here so that the headings and the descriptions all fit inside my actual spreadsheet. But next we're going to do the type columns. So I'm going to go to insert and I'm going to put in a drop down. So this allows us to put in different options depending on what we want to pick. So the type of the card could be a base card, it could be a refractor, it could be like an image variation. Whatever you want you can put inside this. It could also be like an out of 99 parallel if it is a sports card, or an out of 1 for example if you do get lucky enough to get one of those. But this is just a good way to track it. So if we press done, we can now select between the base, the refractors, and whatever it might be. So you might want to be collecting the base card and the refractors, and if you just put a duplicate of the first row for example, you could have both of them tracked in one spreadsheet. And I found the best way to do the condition of the card as well is to use these drop down boxes as well. So we're going to insert another one in here, but this time you track things like if it's a raw card, right? If you've got it raw, if it's near min, is it heavy played, light play? These are all big things in the Pokemon card collecting world. And you can also even track if it's a PSA 10 or a PSA 9 if you have a graded version of the card in the same place. And it's also good that you can put different colors to these different selections as well. And that really helps with putting in things like parallels. So as you can see, I'm just going to select raw card for this one, and then we can click and duplicate all of these down, similar to what we did on the other type as well. So now we're going to come back to the collected section and we're going to duplicate all of our selections here. We're then going to go in this box which we merged earlier, and we're going to put in this piece of code here. I'll leave it in the description as well if you want to copy it. But essentially what this bit of code is going to do is it's going to look at all of the cells from B6 onwards all the way down to B and divide them by the amount that there is. And this will give us the percentage when we click on our checkboxes. And when you enter it, you'll see it says 0, but we need to go onto format, number, and change that to a percentage value. This way, when we click on our checklist, it will show the percentage and not just a random number. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger as well. And you can see when I tick these on and off, it changes the percentage depending on how many we've collected. And if we add even more inside this and tick them on and off, it will automatically track those changes as well, because we told it to do the entire column all the way down to the very bottom of B. And that is kind of all the basics covered for a starter checklist. Most people, this is all you're going to want as a starter checklist, because anything more can be too hard to track. But I'm going to show you guys some more headings and things you can add to it. But one thing you can do is put some borders around it, change the colours. Maybe you want to change the colours to match your set or whatever you're trying to collect. But yeah, changing the colours, making it look a little bit nicer, going to be more likely to use it. Change the font as well, but don't change it to what I change it to, because it looks absolutely awful on that first attempt. Something like this. And you can also select the cells at the top and double click in the middle of one of those columns, and then you've got all of your formatting done automatically, and it looks nice and neat already. So now we're going to look at some more advanced headings that you could put in as well if you want to track even more information in your checklist. So a good one to put in is trade status. So you might be wanting to keep the card, you might want to trade it, or you might want to sell it. So you might want to track which cards you want to do that with. You could also have one for sold as well inside this checkbox. Also gradable, if you think the card is good enough condition to be sent to grading, you could put a yes box in there as well, so it's a gradable card. Purchase price as well, whatever you bought the card for. You might even want to track what you plan to sell it for, or what it is in the current value. Obviously these things are really hard to track in, like, for every single card you might have, but for some of them it might be worth doing. Duplicates, this is quite an important one. I always find I have multiple of cards. I don't know how many I've got. So if you track your duplicates, this can be a good way to know which cards you might want to sell and which you want to keep. Language is a good one to put in there as well if you're collecting different types of sets, maybe Indian or Japanese or Korean, Chinese, whatever the set could be. And you can also log dates on this as well, so when you actually acquired the card. You could even put a watch this one in as well if you're planning to watch the item and buy it next. I like to put in storage location as well, so where I've put the card. So for example, if I'm storing it in my binder or somewhere else. And one of the best things to put in is probably a card image. If you put an image of the card, then it's a lot easier to find it and track it as well. And finally, you might want to add some notes in there as well. And here's some examples of some other ones that I've done in the past. So for example, this is looking just at individual drivers in Formula 1. So for example, I've got Franco Colapinto cards here. They've got the card name, the number, the set, also the release date of where they're from. But then I've got all of the parallel and all the variations of different colors in their own columns. So for example, if you look at all of these ones we've got here, this is all for Chrome 2024. There were so many variations, and this was the best way I found to track those cards. And here's an example from Pokemon cards as well. So as you can see, got all the cards here, and the most important part of Pokemon cards is the card condition. So I've got all the different options inside here for all of those. So played, light play, near mint, mint, and the graded ones as well. And I've also got the version in English next to the Japanese as well. And this I found is a really good way to track the set. So I just go down the bottom, I click on the type of set, and I can see which cards I've got from which language as well. And yeah, really good way to track all of your cards. And that is it, guys. Hopefully you found this useful. If you did, leave a comment down below and let me know what sets you're collecting. But yeah, do like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys soon for another video. Bye bye.